Hi, I'm Corzine, your social media lawyer. A couple of days ago, I made a video about NFTs, and some creators out there sent me some example NFTs, and they said, hey, listen, are these illegal? So in today's video, we're going to go through some of those NFTs that were sent to me, and I'm going to tell you definitively whether or not these NFTs are legal or illegal. All right, we're going to our half screen here. The first NFT that we're going to look at was sent by a creator who was concerned that this particular after party NFT may violate the law, particularly the copyright law. Let's watch a little bit. Enough of that. Do you see where there could be a potential copyright violation? Let's go to full screen and check it out. All right, now I want to direct your attention to a frame right here, and I'm pointing right here to what appears to be a beer can. And to me, it looks like a Pabst Blue Ribbon can. The question that the creator had is, can this person who created the NFT, can they display the Pabst Blue Ribbon beer can in this NFT, assuming that they don't have permission from the Pabst Blue Ribbon company? And the answer to the question is they can. And that's because what you see right here could be the trademark of Pabst Blue Ribbon. However, we really can't tell for sure. If it was the trademark, then it's okay, actually. You can display trademarks in your videos without permission because the whole premise of a trademark is it's displaying the brand. And so it presupposes that there's going to be public display of the artwork. However, it's an even easier question because we cannot really see right here what type of beer can that is. It looks like a Pabst Blue Ribbon, but it could be some other. So as a result, this could also be a parody of a trademark. This could also be a parody of copyrighted content. And if that's the case, then it would likely fall into fair use, because fair use allows you to build upon someone's art if you're going to do a parody of it, kind of make fun of it, emphasize it in kind of a humorous way. And of course, this NFT does that. You see right there, all the Pabst Blue Ribbon cans at the bottom of the pool. This girl has one in her hand, and I keep saying Pabst Blue Ribbon, but it may not be. You really can't tell. So this after party NFT is not an illegal NFT. Actually, it's a permissible use of a parody of a trademark or perhaps copyrighted material. Now let's move on to our next NFT. Okay, here's our next NFT. And this one is called Davina. It appears to be a parody of the statue of David by Michelangelo. It's kind of converting Michael into what looks to be a female there. So let's get a little closer here and look at the image. The question the creator had is, listen, this appears to be a parody of the image of the statue of David. Is it illegal under copyright law? Can they just change the main image to customize it to their liking and not get permission from someone and not have any problems by selling it as an NFT? And the answer to the question is actually yes, for two different reasons. One is the photograph that this appears to be based on probably is no longer copyrighted. It's probably in the public domain. I don't know for sure, because you could certainly take a photograph right now of the statue of David, but this appears to be a classic photo on which this NFT was based. So if that's the case, then certainly if the image is in the public domain, then customizing it, adding blue eyes and adding lipstick is certainly okay. And then secondarily, this is a clear parody of the statue of David. It's changing the hair, it's making it blonde, it's adding earrings, it's feminizing the statue of David, and that's a clear parody. And as we talked about in the last NFT, that would constitute fair use. So my final verdict on this one is that Davina is not illegal. It is a actual proper exercise of fair use, or it's not even implicate copyright law because it's based upon a public domain image. Okay, this one is, I think it's called Drake. And by the way, I have links to the extent that they're available to these NFTs in the description section or on a different web page that you can access. So if you want to look at these NFTs, perhaps you want to buy some of these NFTs, you can look at them at the various exchanges. All right, so this is a video frame of Drake, the famous rapper, of course. And the question that the creator had is this fair? Can you just take a photograph of Drake, make modifications, and then create an NFT out of it and make, maybe thousands of dollars selling this NFT? Well, the first analysis you got to look at is, who owns the copyright to this photo? Could be Drake, it could be the photographer that took the photo, or it could be the videographer that took this particular frame. So once you understand that, if you're going to make something, you're going to build off of this art, this image, this clip, this frame, you've got to get permission. That's how you don't violate copyright law, unless you are substantially transforming the image here. And I have to tell you, looking at it right now, it appears like there's some substantial transformation. Let's look a little closer. All right, so this is a comparison between the NFT Drake and the image, the actual original image of Drake. Again, it appears to have been in a video. And if you do a comparison between these two different images, you see that there is likely substantial transformation. However, some of the colors appear to be the same, like the yellows you see right here at the top left portion is yellow in the original. There is some similarities. I guess they use pink instead of red from the original version to do that. So there is some change. And so this is debatable. This one I think is a questionable call. Is the NFT a substantial transformation of the original video frame? A lot of people might say that it's not sufficient transformation. Some people might say that it is. It's a really questionable call. So when you're going to be doing fan art, you're going to be creating NFTs or video images or still images of famous people, you have to be really careful. One, because these famous people often have a lot of resources. And if you create an NFT and it starts selling for many thousands of dollars, that famous person may have the resources to sue for copyright infringement and to force you to pay over those profits to the person who owns the copyrighted image or the copyrighted frame in this case. So I want to caution you, when you're creating your NFTs, be very careful. One, try to get permission from the original copyright holder of the image you're going to parody or you're going to make a different version of. Two, if you're going to use fair use as an excuse, understand that there's risks involved, that some people could see a sufficient transformation and others couldn't. So you have to be very, very careful. I myself, if I was creating an NFT, I would not base it on a famous person because I would never want to just live with the risk, the threat of some sort of copyright infringement lawsuit that could be brought against me later on in time. So just be careful. This may be an illegal NFT. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, this one's great. I love this one. Let's see if we can play it here. All right, let's look at it full screen because it's really short. All right, this is an NFT called Starry Trip, and it features kind of a characterized image of Vincent van Gogh as what appears to be a pilot of maybe a spaceship or could be an airplane flying out there with Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night in the foreground, in front of whatever spaceship or airplane that this is. I did some research. I don't know exactly who the person is right here. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section below, but I wasn't able to identify that. And the question from the creator who sent this to me was, is this illegal? This appears to take from it both Vincent van Gogh's famous painting and his image, and then put it into the image of, I believe it's a cockpit of an airplane. And is that a violation of copyright law? The first question, of course, is whether or not the images of Vincent van Gogh that you see here are copyrighted. I would gather that they are in the public domain right now, so I would say probably not. Additionally, I would say that in this case, there is a lot of transformation. There are just little small portions of the original images in it. We see, obviously a head right here of Vincent van Gogh. We see the painting in the foreground. But other than that, a majority of this image actually is from some other source. Whether or not the photographer who took the picture of the cockpit has some claim on this NFT is another discussion. Presumably, the NFT creator, the minter, got permission to use this airplane cockpit photograph. If he didn't, there could be a potential copyright claim there because it doesn't look like there's much transformation of the cockpit unless you want to say that the Vincent van Gogh images are transformation. But I will say this, overall, looking at this, I believe that this is sufficient transformation because you don't just take into account the image, you also take into account the fact that there's music. There's music, there's changing of the camera angles, there's movement of the camera in this NFT. You'd have to assume that the person who put the music on this for this NFT actually has the rights to that music. So there's a lot of different areas to inquire about whether or not this NFT is legal or illegal. I would say on the whole, though, it looks legal to me because there's so much transformation going on. And I like the fact that there's camera movement and there's audio placed on this NFT. I will say this, that when you're creating your NFTs, the more transformation, and that means movement, video, audio that you add, the better the case you have for fair use, full transformation of various portions of the image. The other thing to remember too is the smaller the portion of copyrighted material that you use, the better. So in this case, Starry Trip, they really use a very small portion of the original art. And that's a good thing. Combined with the music, combined with the camera movement, combined with another photograph, this to me looks like sufficient transformation. And therefore, if there's any copyrighted content in this NFT, I believe it's fair use, and I believe they're probably safe from any future copyright lawsuits for copyright infringement. All right, let's look at the next one. This is my favorite NFT that I was asked to look at. I'm calling it Jim. It was unnamed, and I don't even have URL to direct you to buy this NFT, but it looks to me, it's pretty obvious, that it's an image of Jim Carrey on a mug, on a table in a, kind of a blurry background. And the question the creator had to me here is, hey, listen, isn't it illegal for you to create an NFT of a photograph of a famous person? And really the analysis comes back down to what we already did, which is who owns the photograph of Jim Carrey there? And if there is permission to use that photograph in this NFT, then you're fine. There's no problem. If there's not permission, you have to look for an excuse. And in this case, we're going to look at fair use, whether or not fair use justifies this NFT. And I got to tell you, there isn't a whole lot of transformation on this. There's a couple of things going on. In this NFT, we don't know if it's a ploy to sell mugs with Jim Carrey or if it's an actual art piece, kind of making a statement about Jim Carrey, but there's not much alteration being done to this mug. It appears that it's just a close-up shot of Jim Carrey. So if there's no permission from the owner of this photograph, it could be Jim Carrey or the photographer, then I see this NFT with a substantial risk of being illegal. So if you are creating NFTs, again, I must remind you, substantial transformation is required. This is merely a still image. There's no audio, there's no music, there's no camera movement. It is merely a photograph, it appears, of Jim Carrey on a mug. And I will tell you, that's a questionable call. Again, I'll repeat it. We talked about it with Drake, but I would discourage you from using images of famous people in your NFTs. You're just asking for more trouble down the line, especially if you hit it big. That's the big thing. Everybody wants to hit it big with NFTs. All the artists are going to put out their NFTs and try to make $1 million. Well, just think, what if this NFT hit it big? $3 million it sold for. Do you think that Jim Carrey's people would be concerned about that and say, listen, you're making so much money off my image. If it was just a small NFT and no one really saw it, then maybe they wouldn't make a big deal. But if it's really selling for the millions of dollars that a lot of you NFT minters want, then that could be a big deal. And in that case, photographer Jim Carrey could bring a copyright infringement lawsuit against you, and you may be forced to pay over those profits and, worst case, pay the attorney fees of the person who brought the lawsuit. So just bear that in mind when you're considering doing NFTs of famous people. It could be very risky. And I would say if you're really going to try to hit it big with NFTs, you don't want to do them of famous people unless you have permission to use that image. All right, that was a lot of fun reviewing those NFTs from creators. We saw that some, mostly were legal, I believe, and then there were some that were questionable that could have been illegal. Again, I want to remind you, if you'd like to get more information on the NFTs that we reviewed today, there's going to be a link in the description that you can click and get that information, get those URLs, so maybe you could buy the NFTs, or maybe you could just learn more about those NFTs. Coming up next are more videos on NFTs. We talked about some dangers of NFTs today, but there actually are more dangers to creating and trading NFTs. I made a video about it. It's coming up next. Just click the card on the next screen and I'll see you next time.